What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV. This is your midday live. We are in the building. We got Sava here. Sava, how are you, mate? How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy Monday to you. Spurs haven't played, so the weekend's not been ruined just yet. It's all good.
Yeah. All good, all good. And as you can see, people, it is only us two at the minute. You know what? I was going to say to myself, is it fair on the audience to not have a show with the full panel? But I said, you know what? Content is content. Lee, unfortunately, his missus has gone ill, so she's got to go to hospital. LB's gone to York with his missus, and Goonie has got a flu. So, unfortunately, they can't be with us. But listen, people, man, this is life. This is what happens. And the show must go on, Sava. We're going to give you the show. And, you know what I mean? If the people love the channel and love the midday live, they'll stick regardless, right?
Yeah, mate, listen, at the end of the day, every team has injuries. You still got to play the games. You still got to play the games, mate. So here we are doing the work. I'll do all the running in midfield, and you can be all the front three.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, man. So listen, people, we'll manage the show. And like I said, you smash the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And yeah, Sava, what did you make of the game on the Chelsea Arsenal game? We didn't really hear your comments and whatnot. What did you make, mate?
Yeah, I think that I was so disappointed in Arsenal again. If I'm brutally honest, fair play. They came back. They got back into the game. But I was, again, another game where I've watched them and thought, this is not the Arsenal of last season. And we keep hearing that, yeah, but they'll click into gear, but something's missing. Much improved from Chelsea. I thought Chelsea looked at it. I think they've got their limitations with the number of injuries they've got, but I thought they looked at it. I thought they worked tirelessly, pressing, working hard. I thought Mudryk, Sterling, and Palmer looked good together as a front three. And I'll be honest, Pochettino, for me, lost that game with his substitutions. Just going to leave that dangling.
Facts. 100%. I think as soon as he made them substitutions, everyone kind of was disorientated in that regard. And Arsenal, you know what? They were gifted that goal, though. The Rice goal, they were gifted. And I feel like for me, it gave Arsenal the initiative. And the fact that Chelsea was so kind of working out their new system, they brought Jackson on, they brought Reece James on. It wasn't working out as planned. And that was the reason why you kind of had that situation where Arsenal grew in control. Were Arsenal lucky, though? Do you reckon Arsenal were lucky, though, in that
Yeah.
aspect, that Chelsea just kind of almost changed a little bit?
Yeah. I thought they were lucky. I thought, look, let's be fair. Goalkeeping mistakes seem to be the thing of 2023.
Yeah.
The standard of goalkeepers across world football is very, very poor at the moment.
Yeah.
Look, if you gift them back into the game like that, and then one cross that eludes everyone and a good finish from Trossard, but I didn't think Arsenal. I'm not saying Chelsea were great, but I just felt that Arsenal were gifted a way back into that. But they haven't lost. You got to hats off to them, credit to them. They've not lost in 9 games. Look, lucky, yes, but they're unbeaten. They're right up there, and they'll take that right away at Chelsea. I think they take that, in all honesty.
You know what's mad though? The keeper, obviously, Sanchez. I mean, both keepers at the minute, you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on, man, but Sanchez for me, absolutely shocking, man. You know what it is with keepers now? What's your viewpoint on just keepers in general now in terms of modern day keepers? I mean, you got Vicario now. Do you reckon we've lost the art of just kind of keepers just doing their jobs now? Because I look at it now and I'm like, everyone wants to play this expansive style of football, but people are losing their kind of almost the true selves in terms of being an actual keeper now. And I feel like it's kind of like they have to do one thing, they have to play out from the back, they have to do this, they have to do that. There's so much on their mind, and there's this pressure now that they have to kind of do. Or do you just think it's a standard of maybe, people say Spanish keepers in the bin? It's not working out for maybe Spanish keepers at the minute.
I don't think it's Spanish keepers. I think it's most keepers. If you have a look, how many solid goalkeepers are there in the Premier League now? Alisson,
Edison maybe on his day, but even Edison, does he get tested
look
enough? I think Edison has put up a outstanding in the Premier League, though.
Yeah, look, I think your original question was very poignant. I think goalkeepers now, fans especially, we're very much concerned about, oh my God, what can they do with their feet? Oh my God, their feet.
Yeah.
I used to like it back in the day when goalkeepers were first and foremost judged on, do they keep the ball out the net?
Yeah.
Right? Do they keep the ball out the net? And what we're starting to see is a lot of keepers now, even those that are competent and comfortable with playing out the back. How many goals are we seeing now because the ball was played out? If you look at the Liverpool Brighton the last weekend before international, I think there was a goal that was played right out into midfield from the keeper. They capitalised and scored. Sanchez with that. David Raya's been at it. Hugo Lloris
David Raya as well was awkward. Yeah, you're spot on. David Raya.
Lloris was at it for years. Look, I get it. You want to be able to play out the back. You want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. I get it. But top goalkeepers, first and foremost, stop the ball going in the net. Don't do the dramatic. Just do the basics. Do the basics well. And I think we're now getting caught out where clubs that are not good enough at playing it out the back want to be able to play it out the back. And how many fans go, oh, no, get rid of it. Right? So, yeah, I think go back to basics, man. People are trying to make it complicated. And I don't think the art of goalkeeping is.
You know what? Like I said, if I was to name now the keepers that I would say are competent now in the Premier League, you got Nick Pope. People are saying Edison only got 58%, save percentage. Alisson, I mean, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, who's out there that you can say is reliable? You know what you're getting. It's not, and even Onana's coming now and he's getting question marks about his, and you know what the worst thing is, Savo? The Premier League doesn't allow you to stay still. Maybe in other leagues, you can relax a little bit, you can play out from the back. Maybe Emi Martinez, that's a good one as well. I think he's decent as well.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I think, go on.
So I was just going to say, when I watch people like Emi Martinez, am I saying, before everyone goes mad, you know what people are like to say, Emi Martinez is a solid goalkeeper for me. He does his job. Yeah. Am I going to put him in the list of Ballon d'Or contenders and the best player in the world? No. Do I watch him every week make mistake week in, week out? No. That's
Yeah.
my keeper. That's the guy I want in goal. I don't want it, 1 week you're brilliant. The next week, you gave away because like Robert Sanchez, for me, I've been watching Chelsea lately. Chelsea have actually been
Yeah.
quite good at the back. And Sanchez has done well. Then you try and do this playing out the back thing. And let's be fair, without that, Arsenal aren't back in the game. So it's these small
More
margins.
margins.
Small margins.
Yeah.
Look, I get it, right? You've always had goalkeepers that can play out the back. I'm not saying that needs to disappear completely. But now it seems like the prerequisite to a goalkeeper being able to join a club is that they've got to be able to play out the back. I think it's dangerous, man. I think it's really dangerous.
Yeah, but this is the reason why he's out of the team. You know what I mean? Ramsdale is out the team. You know what? I've been looking at it and I'm thinking, is Raya any better than Ramsdale? Like, as much as I want to give him the credit and I want to give, you got to give Raya time or whatnot, but is he any better? Was it a complication that needed to be happened? And I said that yesterday to the lads, I said to him, was it needed to bring in Raya if we knew the gap wasn't as big to Ramsdale? If the gap was bigger, then yeah, you would say that. But are we kind of like maybe being a bit reactionary? We say, you know what, it's a bit too soon.
Well, look, do you know what? I have to be really careful here because so the moment I talk about Arsenal, everyone's like, "Oh, you're Spurs." You're bound to say that. But look, I'll stay consistent with what I said, Saeed. For me, I didn't see the need. Like I felt for what Arsenal needed to kick on, that goalkeeping position for me wasn't one of them. Look, Ramsdale, again, am I saying Ramsdale's the greatest keeper in the world? No. But I think if you go into Arsenal last season like Ramsdale did, he had a good year. Yeah, he makes mistakes. Name me a keeper that doesn't, right? He went in, made a couple of mistakes, but on the whole, they're in a title challenge. He's done well. They were solid enough at the back. Then you get to the summer and your manager goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm bringing in this guy." I'd be like, why? What have I done? And from an outsider's point of view, there'll be people that disagree with me for sure. But do I watch Arsenal now and think they're better because Raya's in goal over Ramsdale?
That's what I'm saying.
Not really. Do I think Ramsdale's a good keeper? I'm not going to go overboard. I think he's good. I think Raya's a good keeper. I don't think he's this top goalkeeper that everyone that everyone thinks he is. I think he's a good keeper, but like you say, is Ramsdale there? And you've gone out and bought Manuel Neuer. Right?
Yeah.
Have you gone out and got Oblak? Have you? No. Yeah. Seemed a weird one to me. If I was Ramsdale, I'd be handing in my transfer request and saying, "See you later."
You know what? Yeah, spot on, because it's like one of them where you're like, what is he doing better than me? Yes, he might kick it out from the back a little bit better, but is he a better keeper as well in that regard? So I don't know, man. You know what it is, though? It's also scary how Alisson is just up there and he's clear of everyone else. Like,
I agree.
It's scary how what Alisson has done in terms of his levels. Like, Alisson is just clear for me. So I can't lie, man. It's scary, man. I wanted to discuss Martin Odegaard because there's been a lot of talk online. There's been a lot of talk in terms of, Odegaard in big games. You know what? A lot of people talk to me about Bruno Fernandes, and I always say the same thing. In big games, he doesn't deliver for me, especially away from home when you need him to deliver as well. Martin Odegaard, for me, I like Martin Odegaard. This is why I wanted, hopefully, Lee Goddard to come on. But I feel like with Martin Odegaard, I do like his core principles. I like the fact that he holds on to the ball well. I think the way he moves around the pitch, his elegance, his style, I like that. He likes to keep the ball. But the problem is, though, when in these big games, I seem to just kind of drift everywhere. He doesn't really impact the game as much. And you kind of want him as a sole creator, as a captain, to be that. Conor Gallagher was out showing him. Conor Gallagher. And this is a player that doesn't have the ability of Odegaard. Does it mean Odegaard's a bad player? No. But I think with Arsenal fans and just me in general as a neutral, I want to see more from Odegaard in these kind of big games, especially at Chelsea away, where you've got to, insert your dominance.
Yeah, Odegaard's an interesting one for me. Technically a very good footballer, right? I think we can all see that. I think everyone knew from the age of 16 that this boy's got something about him. I do feel that Odegaard sums up football fans in 2023 perfectly, if I'm brutally honest. He had a good year last year. Yeah, he had a good year. I thought before that, the years before that, he was okay. Like, didn't really stand out. And that 1 year elevated him from being a good midfielder to, not from me, from lots of fans' eyes, from a good midfielder to, oh my God, Odegaard's class. I don't think he's class. I think he's a good midfielder. I think he dominates against a lot of the poorer teams. Like you say, in the big games, I'm yet to see a game where I go, oh yeah, Odegaard bossed it. I like him as a player. I think he's a good footballer. But I think the key thing here is we want to put players on a pedestal before they deserve the right to. Is he elite? I don't think he's an elite player at all. Is he world class? I think he's miles off being world class. I think he's a good Premier League player that does his job, had a good year last year. But he's got to, what he did last year, he's got to do consistently. You've got to do that every year if you want to be talked about as one of the best in the league. And for me, again, I can only say I thought he was anonymous against Chelsea. I thought he was anonymous when Spurs went there as well. Yeah, I feel like you're right. There's a lot of big games where I don't notice him the way you would notice a De Bruyne, so to speak. Even, dare I say it, at the risk of being called salty, like James Maddison at the moment. Keeps popping up with big moments in big games. But, yeah, good player, overhyped, as always, as many players are. Good player, but overhyped.
Yeah, I think it depends. You know what it is with the word overhyped? I think you've got to use it carefully because it depends on what context you use it. Overhyped at a certain level of, is he on De Bruyne's level? Then obviously, you know what I mean? That is justified. But I do think he deserves his hype, though, in terms of what he's done in an Arsenal shirt. You know what I mean? He has been a key kind of almost cog in what Arsenal have done since Arteta's been here. You know what? He's actually been at the forefront of what Arteta's done. Without him, you kind of maybe don't see the same Arsenal. But the problem is, though, we live in a world now where output is needed as well, alongside the way you play as well. You've got to have both. People don't want one or the other, and that's the issue now. You know, players have to be almost become sofa score players. You know what I mean? They have to have these stats and whatnot. Whereas I get it though, in the sense of, you know what, in big games, you've got to be noticed as well, because like I said, you can't drift out of the game and not be relevant. You've got to do something. And I felt like he didn't do that. And also, Rice was also being the kind of almost attacker. I thought Rice was almost further forward than Odegaard, when it's like, he should be the one linking the play, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, as I said though, I think the thing is, I like Odegaard. I've said along, and you know, as I read some of the comments in your chat, it really does make me laugh that people haven't listened to a word I've said. I like him. It's like someone's put Sava just judging Odegaard on this season. No, listen to what I said. Last season, it was excellent. The seasons before that, it wasn't. So for me, look, Said, you know me, to please me from a player point of view, right?
Yeah.
I like, and all the Spurs people who watch me all the time will tell you, consistency is the biggest word for me in football. Odegaard was brilliant last year. The years before that, I thought he was okay. This year, he's been okay. It depends how we're judging him. Is Odegaard a very good footballer? Yes, of that there is no doubt. Very good player. Is he a top player? I'm not sure. I want to see in the big moments when it comes to winning things, when it comes to Man City, like when I watched them at Man City away, Odegaard anonymous. Chelsea was anonymous. Spurs anonymous. But very good footballer. I just think he's not at the level that some fans think he is.
Yeah, no, 100%. Big up to Amar. Arsenal fans compared him to De Bruyne, SMH. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe, you know, maybe Arsenal fans are their own worst nightmare. You know what I mean? Trying to comparisons are killing him. I don't know. And putting him to that pedestal, we don't know yet. You know what I mean? So, big up to Debbie. She says, you know what? After the game I saw, I can't wait for El Clasico. Yeah, that'll be this weekend as well. So, absolutely. Odegaard couldn't pass wind on Saturday. Bro, he wasn't available. And you know what? Not that he wasn't available, but he wasn't there to show it. But again, with Arsenal, you've got Jorginho in there who didn't offer much as well. Arteta, for me, is overcomplicating it as well for me as well. Like, Party should be in that midfield. Get a bit of balance in that midfield. You know, I looked at that game and I thought to myself, you know what, man? get the balance in that game, and also win that game easy. But I just think he's overcomplicated a little bit, in that regards. So I don't know, man. I think Arsenal, yes, it is two drop points for me, but ultimately it does show a bit of resilience that they came back as well. We've got to give him that as well, that they
For
came back
sure.
with resilience as well.
For sure. Listen, Arsenal are a good team. They're going to be up there. They're going to listen. People, it's got to be really clear here. Arsenal are a good team. I have said I've not made any two bones about this. You can confirm I've said this all the way alongside. Man City will win this title, and then second or third will be Liverpool and Arsenal in some way. I don't know if it's going to be Liverpool Arsenal or Arsenal Liverpool. That for me is going to be the three. Then I think you've got a dog race between all the rest for fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Right, but. Do I think he's overrated? Again, I think you're right. It depends what you rate him as. For me, very good footballer. But look, I'll tell you what sums it up. I saw a post the other day on my Instagram, right? It was from Don Robbie and all his lot at DR Sports. And it said, it was how many world-class players, let me get the wording. Basically, it was a post saying, how many players in the Arsenal squad are world-class? And it was so funny reading the comments. Like, I'm sitting there going, none of them yet. Like Saliba, I think is excellent, but I don't think any of them are world class, right? And you had fans going in and going, 6, 7, 5. And I'm sitting there going, this is the problem. People put these players there. Then when they don't perform, they want to kick them and bring them back to here. Maybe the truth lays in the middle side that they're not there or there. They're here. Maybe they're just here. And what we expect from them every game is just a bit too much. Saka's another one. Saka's a really good player. He's a really good player. Is he world class? Doesn't do enough for me. I don't notice him enough in games for me to go, oh, he's world class. But it's fans' expectation for me. Fan expectation is way too quick, way too soon at every club.
Yeah.
Not just 100%. Arsenal, by the way.
Saliba's got the potential to be world class. I think. What's his name? I think Saka's got the potential to be world class. Martinelli, I'm not sure if he's got the star qualities. I think his raw ability, Martinelli. I think he's based on. It is based on talent as well, but I think Saka's probably got the more talent. I think raw ability. I think is Martinelli, but whether he becomes world class, I'm not sure. In that regard, but. It's definitely Saliba, definitely Saka on the potential. Also, you got to remember
Saliba's the standout for me. When I watch Saliba play for Arsenal, this is how you know I'm not biased. That boy is mustard. That boy is. I give it a couple more years. I think he'll be one of the best, if not the best, centre half in world football. I think he's quality. I watch the rest, and it's too many in and out games. And top players, world class players, more often than not, it's. I.e., look at Rodri at Man City.
Yeah.
How many games you watch Man City and Rodri's not at the middle of everything they do? Right? Yeah. That's the level we're talking about. So, look, Saka, good player, putting a good cross the other day. Other than that, I thought Cucurella absolutely pocketed him. I thought that's the best I've seen Cucurella play, if I'm honest.
About Chelsea, I was going to say Chelsea. Do you reckon they should be encouraged? Because I think Chelsea should be encouraged by that. I know they dropped so many points in terms of where they were, but if I'm a Chelsea fan, Pochettino spot on his tactics. Okay, the subs were not great, but I'd be more encouraged if I was a Chelsea fan right now. If I'm being really, really honest with you, I'd give it. Like I thought Gallagher was outstanding as well. Like Gallagher, a lot of people. I said to a lot of Chelsea fans, don't be fooled. He will be playing games. I know certain men are injured, but he's still playing games. And Conor Gallagher, fair play to him, man, has been at the heartbeat of what Chelsea have done. And now he's playing more advanced now all of a sudden. And he's actually doing well. Cucurella, I wasn't familiar with your game. He's been at quality. Thiago Silva's still a rock at 39. I mean, Chelsea have got things to kind of look forward to. Cole Palmer was great as well. Like, you know what? Fair play to Chelsea, man. They surprised me on Saturday. I didn't think they would play to that level of intensity against a team that's well established.
What we're seeing from Chelsea is like at the beginning of the season when everyone was just going sack Poch. Do you remember I'd come on the show and say, consistency. Everyone hates me for saying this word. Said it's everything in football. What you'll notice, look at the last 4 games. Look at Chelsea's lineup. Right, I reckon they've
Yeah.
made one change in each game. I think it's been like Mudryk for, depending if Mudryk's fit or whoever else was played there, Jackson or whatever. When you actually look at Chelsea now, the last 4 games that they've looked good, they've played the same 11 near enough. And they're starting to build those relationships between the fullback and the winger, between the 2 centre halves, between that midfield now of Enzo, Caicedo, and Conor Gallagher. Now, Conor Gallagher, what I love about Conor Gallagher is he is what he is. And what I mean by that is he doesn't get the hype of an Odegaard or a Maddison or this guy is what he is. He's a 7.5 out of 10 every game. You know what you're going to get from him. You know his capability, Saeed. You know his limitations. But every game you watch Chelsea, Conor Gallagher gives you 100%. He drives forward. You know what he's going to do. And he's taken that captain's armband on quite well. Sometimes it's okay to have that player in your team. Everyone wants the worldies. It's okay to have that. And I think that midfield 3 looks really good for Chelsea. But same as always, what Chelsea are lacking is a lot of the players that they've got injured, they need back. And they need a goal scorer. They need Nkunku and another goal scorer for me. But it's no surprise. Mudryk now is playing better. Not the goal. Forget the goal. Mudryk, you watch him now, is playing better. Now he's playing week in, week out. Right? Confidence. Sterling is playing better. Cole Palmer's now had 3 or 4 games in a row. He's looking good. The midfield 2 together have now had 4 games in a row together. They're consistency. Can't keep changing managers, changing the 11 every game and thinking you're going to do well. So I think they're on the right path. They got some tough games coming up, but I think they can be encouraged from what they saw.
Absolutely. Got a super chats here. By the way, big up to everybody who's still watching. Over 700 here, and most of the panel not here. So it just shows you guys that you guys are true loyal fans of the show. And big up to you. Make sure you guys are liking the video. There's 730 of you in there. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you're following Savage channel, Football Heritage TV. Lucas, big up my guy, West Ham fan. Evening, lads. Question for you both. What's on your wish list in January, United and Spurs? Sava, you go ahead. Anything on your wish list apart from your Christmas wish list? Apart from that,
loads. Spurs have got loads to do. Spurs have got loads to do. We need a centre half. We've only got Van der Ven and Romero, and then we've got kids, so we need a centre half. I think we need another central midfielder. I think we're very light in there, and I feel that Spurs desperately need a forward, whether that's an out-and-out striker or whether that's a wide man that scores goals. I don't think the Spurs front 3, once you take Son out of it, I don't think it's anywhere near our rivals. And I'll go as far as say this. People, this will rile a few people. You know me, Saeed.
Go on.
This will rile a few people. I keep saying to Spurs fans, I look at Newcastle's front 3 of Gordon, Almiron and Isak or Wilson. I'd rather that than our front 3. I look at Ollie Watkins, Diaby and Zaniolo. I'd rather that front 3, right? I look at Arsenal's. I'd rather that.
That's a fair point, though. That's a fair point. That's not so controversial.
There's a lot to do at Spurs. So I would say one from centre half.
Would you take Sancho? Would you take Sancho? No, you wouldn't take Sancho.
Too much baggage. I think there's too much baggage. I think what Spurs need to do is keep buying the players that we've got that we know are hungry, that want to make that step up. That we know Postecoglou will get the best out of him, best out of them. Sancho for me is a talented footballer, but he's what I call a sometimes player. Right? Loads of players that sometimes they're good and everyone goes,
when they want it,
brilliant.
When they feel it,
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there, you know.
Not for me.
You know, there's a lot of that. You know what? That's a good football. That's a good analogy. But I do think, though, who would give him the best platform right now? If I'm thinking in my head, a club, and it's probably Ange Postecoglou, a guy who's now nurturing talent. He's actually getting the best out of his team. You know, I think his ideal club would be Tottenham, and then you put Kulusevski probably towards the middle, and you get Sancho on the right. It would work. He's in London. You know what I mean? It makes sense, but maybe that's just me kind of pushing him onto you in that regards. I'm gonna say for me on my wish list in January would be buy a centre back. That would be Todibo, or someone of that ilk. And I think for me, it would be Ivan Tony. I can't lie to you. If we need a striker as well. I know Hoyland is there, but he's young, and obviously we'll get into him in a bit. But we need guaranteed goals as well. In that regard, so I would probably say them two, Ivan
And a
Tony
new
and
manager?
Todibo. Sorry. No,
And a
no,
new
no, no.
manager?
We'll listen. We'll get on to him. We'll get on to Ten Hag in a bit, man.
Oh, man.
I wanted to this. Oh, big up to you know what, Debbie. I'll get this super chat when we go to United. But thanks for that super chat. I wanted to discuss Unai Emery because I feel like
Mm,
we need to put some respect on his name.
mm.
Unai Emery. I don't know if you watched the game yesterday, but
Yeah.
I can't lie. They're looking good. You know, they are fifth in the league. They're only 2 points behind Manchester City, which is crazy. They're 1 point behind you guys. I mean, I'm not saying they're in a title race or whatnot, but you know what? Like Unai Emery, how do you rate him first of all? And do you think they could do something special this season? Like, because they've got a good team, you know, and they've got a good depth now. They've played in Europe. What are you saying about Unai Emery?
Yeah, I listen, Unai Emery's a top manager. I think he's been there, seen it and done it. He wasn't really given a lot of time at Arsenal for me. But
Yeah,
let's be fair, you don't win that many European trophies if you're not a good manager, right? And
facts,
the Europa League is a tough competition to win, and he kept winning it.
facts.
Look, and what he's done at Villa, I mean, coming in and taking over the monstrosity that was Steven Gerrard. But what he's done in the year, somebody in the chat will tell me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong here. I think I saw yesterday on the Sky Sports build up to the game that
yeah,
in the last calendar year since he joined, because he's been there a year tomorrow, right?
yeah, yeah. Tomorrow.
Villa have taken the second most points of any team in the league.
Wow, that's
Something like that.
crazy.
Is it second or third most points of any team in a year? Listen, I think he's got the right blend. I think he's made some really good signings. I like Villa. I said in the summer, lots of my Spurs viewers got annoyed at me. Oh, you love Villa. No, I don't love Villa. What Villa
Mm.
have done in 4 years since being promoted has been brilliant. They've got a very good back four now. I
Mm.
love their midfield balance. I think it's perfect with
Yeah,
Douglas
Douglas
Luiz,
Luiz, quality.
McGinn,
Yeah,
and is it
McGinn's
what's his
underrated, man. McGinn's underrated. I like
name?
McGinn. You know, he's
Yeah, I
underrated,
agree.
mate.
I agree. And I like their front three. Watkins, Diaby, Zaniolo. Then you've got players you can bring on. Like Leon Bailey looks like he's got a bit of a new lease of life coming
Yeah,
on under Unai Emery. You've got Tyrone
yeah,
Mings who's got to come back. Not his biggest fan, but he did well
yeah.
back in the last year. Look, what can they do this year? Look, I think there's only so much you can do unless you're one of the big boys, right? There's only so much you can do. But I think they're definitely going to be in there for that fourth, fifth race. I
Mm.
don't see the quality in the Prem. I know people say the Premier League. I don't think there's that much quality in it anymore. I don't think the gap's huge like it was now from the big boys to the rest. And I think Villa have got a very, very good manager. 11 home wins in a row.
Wow, it's a fortress. I want to be going to Villa Park at the minute. You wouldn't want to
No,
go there. It's a
no,
fortress.
no.
You know, it's a place where, you know what I mean, you're intimidated. You got Watkins running. I think they've got the perfect blend. Matty Cash on the wing, on the right and whatnot.
Yeah,
Digne. They've got a perfect blend of a team now where, you know what, like, for the first time maybe since, I would say, remember the era of, was it Martin O'Neill? When they used to have Ashley Young and, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
who was it? Gareth Barry and whatnot. Like,
Yeah,
Aston
yeah.
Villa are a
James
intimidating
Milner.
team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
James Milner. They used to have, Melberg at the back. They used to be like a team that was on the rise, and
Yeah,
they were reaching top 5, top 6. I look at it, and I think, you know what, man? Ollie Watkins has got a natural goal scorer. You've got natural creators. You've got midfield that is very, very dominant as well. Like,
yeah.
only for me, Unai Emery can mess it up in terms of if he goes a bit too tactically savvy in terms of, when he plays that high line and he tries to do something crazy. Only he can mess it up. But if he actually puts his team out there and plays the game where he knows he can get the best out of the players, bro, I think for me, he's amazing. They've also got Monkey, who's Sevilla director, former Sevilla director, who's at the football club. So they've got a recruitment team now. They're buying players like Diaby now. So bro, like the gap is getting smaller and smaller, man. Like,
Yeah,
we're
they're
here,
doing well.
and I'm fearful. I'm fearful of Villa possibly overtaking us. I am.
Their front three going forward scares me, and even like when you look at Ollie Watkins for me again, another player, good striker. I'm not going to go overboard about it. He's a good striker, but you know what he is? He's a pain in the arse. He doesn't stop running. He's involved in every game. Every time Villa plays, involved. And what I mean by that is I don't mean he's starting. He's in the game. Even if he's not scoring, he's in the game. He's creating. He's popping shots away. Then I compare that. If you look at like Spurs, for example, it's the easiest comparison for me because I'm a Spurs fan. Sometimes Spurs struggle. Like we struggle to get Sonny into the game. Yeah, when he's through on goal, who do I want finishing their dinner, Watkins or Son? I want Son. But their all-round game, I feel like we struggle to get him into the game sometimes. Watkins is always
in the game. Always in the game.
Yeah, they've got a good thing going on. Here's the question. For Villa to get better. The signings now have got to be brilliant because you've got a good unity, you've got a good team, you've got a good blend. What's the jump and in which area? How do you get them from there to there? They're a good team.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a couple of super chats. Big up to Debbie. Question to you both. Who is going to get the sack? My money on the Burnley manager. For me, I think it might be the Bournemouth manager first. I think he's apparently on the verge of getting sacked. I don't know if you've seen it. I've never heard of this guy. That's why I was like, who is this guy that they bought? I didn't actually know that they made him manager. I never seen the press conference. I never seen the announcement on Sky Sports. I didn't see it. And then all of a sudden I heard about this guy called Aziola, is he called? Correct me if I'm right. I don't know what his name is. Areola, yeah. And I'm like, who is this guy? And for me, they haven't won a single game this season. I don't know what they're trying to do. Don't know what they are, but this is crazy.
Look, let's talk about the two you've just mentioned there, right? Bournemouth and Burnley. Right. I love the fact that both these managers want to play this football, right? I love that.
Yeah.
It's also very naive. It's very, very naive. I don't know if any of you have watched the documentary on Burnley. It shows from the day Vincent Kompany took over to them getting into the Premier League. And I get it. He was like, we're going to come in. We're going to completely change from the Burnley model to this new expressive way of playing. That's great. And that worked in the Championship. Unfortunately, Burnley have come up and trying to do the same thing, which is, I mean, you could apply many words to this, Sage. You could say it's brave. Yeah, it's commendable. It's stupid. It's naive. Whichever way you want to look at it, right?
He never sacked Gary O'Neill, man. He was a guy for them, man.
And Bournemouth have done the same thing. They've sacked a manager that's kept them up. Maybe they weren't playing the prettiest football, but in year one in the Premier League, surely your objective isn't let's set the world alight with one-touch tick-attacker. It should be survive, right?
Survive.
And Bournemouth have got rid of a guy that kept them up against all odds, and they brought in a new guy that's modern. He's a modern manager, and I'm not knocking that. But now they look awful. They look like a shoo-in to go down if they don't change something very, very soon. So both those managers, I would say that Kompany's probably got more credit in the bank. And from seeing how the Burnley owners were in that documentary, I think that the Burnley owners will probably stick with him.
Yeah. They'll stick with him. But
the Bournemouth manager,
no, he hasn't got any credit in the bank. And you know what? He's one of them managers that I think for me, it's too stubborn in his principle. He won't change the way he plays, and sometimes that will get you the sack. So I'm going to say the Bournemouth manager. But big up to Debbie for the super chat. Big up to Micah Johnson, who I think is disagreeing with our point earlier. The league has had 3 UEFA Champions League winners in the last 5 years. The top 10 is at an all-time high. It's just the bottom
I,
6, 7 is full of dross. I
I
do believe he's
disagree.
got a point, though. I
Yeah.
do believe, though. Okay, let's look at the bottom table. Luton, Forest, um, I don't know, Everton. Yeah, Everton's, yeah, they're poor as well. Everton, Bournemouth, Burnley.
Let
Let me
have a
just
look at the
bring the
table.
table up here. Yeah, let me
Sorry,
pull up the table here.
have a look at the table, right? You tell me. Look, I
And
think
by the way, we got a new member of the channel. Big up to you, A. Solomon. Big up to you. Appreciate that. Anyone wants to become a member, hit the join button, people. And yeah, sorry, Sava. I'm
no,
bringing
no,
this
you're
up
right.
here.
You're right. I
So yeah, he has
I
got a
think
point though. Look.
no. Look how crap the Premier League is from right. Go up to who's in. Look at the Premier League, 11th to 20th. That is crap. 11th to
Yeah,
20th is crap. Let's be
yeah,
brutally honest about this, right? I'd
yeah.
be disappointed to lose 20 of them, and I've got to say that quietly because Spurs have got Fulham tonight. So,
Yeah,
but
Spurs got Fulham tonight. So yeah, exactly. But you know
then,
what? It is bad though. When you think about it, it is bad though, man. Like
right now,
Wolves,
look at
Wolves are fair play. I tipped them to go down, Wolves, but now they've got a little bit of resurgence. But look at the teams here. Like Nottingham Forest were 2-0 up against Luton Town, and they just about scraped over the line. Like Luton Town came back to 2-2. Like it's just a poor Sheffield United. I mean, we made them look like Barcelona. We'll get to them as well, but
But now
it's
even look above that. Man United are poor right now, so I know we'll get into that. Man United are a poor
yeah,
team right now. Chelsea aren't a strong team right now. West
yeah,
Ham are okay. Brighton are a good team. Newcastle are a good team. Villa are a good team. Spurs are a good team. Liverpool are a good team. Arsenal aren't world beaters. Man City are the shining light in this league. Man City are powerful, right? I look at the rest and I don't think it's as strong as it has been. I don't think this Arsenal and Liverpool team compared to what teams they've had in years gone by is anywhere near. Tottenham are okay. Villa are working their way up there, so are Newcastle, but I don't think it's that strong a league. I think that there's lots of average teams, and that's why it's more bunched up. But listen, each to their own. I'm not that passionate about that opinion. That's just what I think.
yeah, absolutely. You know what? I was gonna say as well, Newcastle are looking good. You know what? You've got to give it
Mm,
to Eddie Howe now. They're unbeaten in 8. Again, a
yep.
lot of people was like, sack Eddie Howe. He's
Right.
done. He's not the
Right.
manager. What did I say to people? Relax. Let him build his team again. Second season. And you know what? They look dangerous, They look, and you know what it is with Newcastle, I've noticed there, which Man United don't do enough. Maybe Tottenham don't do enough. They absolutely murder teams. Like they kill teams off. They absolutely destroy teams. Like, guys, Newcastle do not mess about. When they win like proper. Like
Mm.
they smack teams up. You know what I mean? So fair play to Eddie Howe, man. I like him, man. And I think for me, he deserves his credit. We're a team that still isn't the Newcastle team that everyone thought it would be. Everyone thought they would have unbelievable players by now and it'd be Mbappe and all these. Nah, it's still long stuff. It's still certain players in the team that aren't that aren't the craziest of names in that regards.
Look,
I mean, I'm going to list you the goal scorers yesterday: Anthony Gordon, Jacob Murphy, Sean Longstaff, and Callum Wilson. I'm sorry, it's crazy, man. You got to
yeah.
give him credit.
Listen, maximum credit. This is another one that shows it was just like when people were talking about Poch being sacked after 4 or 5 games, and they're talking about Eddie Howe being sacked because they lost 3 of their first 4.
Yeah,
Patience and consistency. Eddie Howe's a very good manager, right? And what Newcastle have given themselves now is options.
Mm.
Before it was Callum Wilson doesn't score, no one scores. Now you've got
Yep,
Wilson and Isak as centre forwards. You've got
yep,
Almiron scoring from one wing. You've got Anthony Gordon the other wing. You've got they've got another winger. I think I'm missing out completely here.
yeah,
You've got people like Jacob Murphy, Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali. They're building a squad. And like you said, it's not all the £100 million players that everyone thought it was going to be when they got taken over.
yeah.
I think he's an exceptional manager who's done a brilliant job from moment one, from day one of walking into that club. I think he's done a brilliant job. Harvey Barnes, thank you, Colby. Harvey Barnes was the other one I was looking at. Yeah, they're flying up the table, and this is why. You know, when I said the other week, like people are like, Spurs are in a title challenge, and I see you dropping into my chat saying Spurs
I'm always in your chat. I'm always in your chat.
This is the reason I say, when you look at that Premier League table, I don't know if you're able to bring that up again quickly. Look how tight it is up there, right? From first to seventh is 5 points, something like that. You've got Aston Villa 2 points off the top. Spurs go top again if we win tonight. Man City are top where they normally are. You know, Liverpool and Arsenal are right up there. Brighton are up there with 16 points. You know, Man United are now on 15. They're only like a few points off of Champions League. For me, patience is needed with a lot of this before we constantly talk about sacking managers. Patience.
Patience indeed. Zayn Mias is in the building. Zayn Mias, I don't know if he's going to say anything wild, but we'll see. Arsenal can still win the league once we get Ramsdale back. Said you have lost 4 games already and not played Liverpool City or Newcastle next. Yes, we will get into that right now. So thanks you for letting me know. But Ramsdale, Zayn Mias has had enough of Raya, man. He came up to my chat before and was like, "Listen, I've had enough of Raya, mate." So it is what it is. We'll see. Make sure you guys are liking the video, people. Let's get to 300 likes, people. I appreciate everybody that's still here and still watching the channel. Big up to you guys. Apologies on what happened today. Debbie says, Saeed, I'm glad you won the game, but that performance, what? Also, this is Man City's going to win the league. This is why, Man City's going to win the league. You know what? Yesterday, Saturday, it was very, very tough. And you know what made it tough as well, Savo, is the fact that I watched the Merseyside derby. Not a brilliant game. I watched the Brighton game. To be fair, that was a decent-ish game. The Chelsea game ended up being a good game. And then I had to watch United at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. 8 p.m. I just feel like I feel like if that was at 12:30, I maybe would have thought about that game differently. But the fact that I have to wait all day and I saw that against Sheffield United, it doesn't, it's like waiting for something forever. Then when you get it, you're like, is that what it was all about? Like, it wasn't worth the hype. So I don't know, man. I just didn't like the performance. But again, we got the result. First back-to-back wins this season. But Sava, did you watch the game? What did you make of it? And is it still bad sign for United?
I watched it. I don't know what's going on with these 8 p.m. kickoffs on a Friday night and a Saturday night.
I can't stand it.
Give the people their weekend evenings, right? Give them their weekend evenings, and then you get a Sunday where you've only got one game. Anyway, that moan out the way. Look, Man United. Look, positives. You got the win. I still watch you. I haven't changed my mind in the last 2 months. You know what I'm going to say. I don't know what you are as a team. I genuinely watch you and don't.
I agree with you, though. I agree.
What man you are.
Yeah.
You will win games because you do have better players. I know that sounds obvious, but for me, I can see what Chelsea are trying to do in their style. I understand Liverpool. I understand Arsenal. I understand what Postecoglou's doing. We all know how Man City play. We know how Brighton play. I watched Man U. I don't know what you are. I don't know what team you are.
You know what? It's mad, yeah. And big up to Xavier said, Sir Jim will sack Ten Hag, make Southgate manager and Potter is number 2 and Maguire captain. Arsenal can go unbeaten this season. Who can beat us? No one. Well, listen, Man City, that's what it is. And you learned that last season, mate. But listen, there was rumours of Graham Potter becoming manager if Ten Hag was sacked by Jim Ratcliffe. I don't know how much control Jim Ratcliffe has. That's why I can't really put any emphasis on that story. But you know what? I feel like for me, I don't know what Man United play. I mean, Man United play Bielsa, or Kyle B says. I don't know what Man United play. I do think you're right, though. When you have an element of when you have better players against certain teams, you have a greater chance of winning the game. United have not drawn a game this season. United have either lost or won a game. So it just shows you if a team actually sets up well and defends well, they end up winning the game. If Man United better players turn up and they actually decide to win a game, they do win the game. You see where my logic is coming from?
Yeah,
Like, that's what it is with United. And there's no in between. There's no, there's no draws in there so far this season. And it is, you get beat or you get frustrated and then you win the game. So it's moments. And you know what? These are the things that I was complaining about with Ollie. But I still think for me, it's one of them where I don't know if I'm at that point where Ten Hag needs to go. I don't think I'm at that point. You know when you're a fan, Ten Hag out. I don't think I'm at that stage yet where
yeah,
there's no
yeah.
belief, there's no coming back from this. He's gone. I want him out. I'm not at that stage yet. Other fans may be at that stage and they're entitled to do that. But I just think for me, this is a massive week for him. But like you said, perspective-wise, you said what 6 points behind top five and whatnot. It's a crazy
This
season,
is
isn't it?
why it's always, you're always right. The magic number. You're always 3 games away from brilliance and 3 games away from disaster. Right?
Yeah.
You have a look. Newcastle have just won 3 on the bounce in the Premier League, right? And straight away, boom, they're back up there, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Man City. Oh, they're going to lose. Imagine if Man City had lost to Brighton, right? Oh my God, 3 games without a win. They're terrible. Instead, they win. I thought they were excellent, by the way, as well. They win and they're top. And all of a sudden, all the Man City talk has died down. This is football, right? 3 games changes everything. If Burnley were to win 3 games in a row, they're not in the relegation battle anymore. They lose 3 games in a row, they're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
So, for me, what is worrying about Man U, as I said, I've got no doubt you're going to nick results. No doubt about that. It is that, again, I don't care. I'm not a Man U fan. I don't care from that point of view.
Yeah.
But what's the plan? What's the style? What are you? It's not like you're playing badly, but everyone says, oh, you can see what the manager's doing, though. And when they click, right? Like, if I use my own team by example, we all know now, and I think everyone in the chat, if they ask themselves honestly, even if they hate Spurs, I think everyone knows Spurs' style of play now. We know what's been implemented.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell.
Right?
Yeah, you can tell.
18 months down, I look at Man U, I still don't know what he's meant to be implementing. And I thought, I'll be honest, I thought it was a good appointment. I thought he would implement what I saw when Ajax played us off the park twice. I know we beat them in the Champions League semi-final, but they played us off the park. They were excellent. I thought he'd create that with what he had with Frankie de Jong, Donny van der Beek, Ziyech. I thought he was going to create that, and he hasn't. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think maybe my kind of basis of what I want from Ten Hag is built on hope. You know what I mean? Is he on the level of Guardiola and whatnot? No, he's not. I will admit that. But is he a good manager? I think there is core principles. What we've seen at Ajax, yes, it's the Eredivisie and whatnot, but this was a guy that was renowned in Europe. The top teams were coming after him. There was rumors of him possibly replacing Guardiola at one point. There was teams after him. I know there was maybe kind of talks of Tottenham, but obviously they kind of, debunked it quite quickly. But there was this element that everyone wanted Ten Hag. So that's where I'm like, we can't be then revisionist and say, you know what, well, to be honest with you, he's not really a good manager, is he? But there is elements in that. But sometimes you can't change your opinion about a manager or what he was. And you know what? Sometimes you don't always get what you get on the receipt, Like sometimes you may get some products and you're like, you know what? I'm buying this unbelievable product on Amazon, and you get it and you're like, well, what is this product that I've just bought?
Something I learned a long time ago, right? Just because a player doesn't work out at a club doesn't mean he's bad. Just because a manager doesn't work out at a club doesn't mean they're bad. Sometimes it's the right player, the right manager, the right time, the right system, the right situation, right? We've seen it. You've seen it years and years and years. For many years in football, we've seen it. When a player's brilliant, they move to a club, not so good. They move back somewhere else and they're good again. Sometimes it just doesn't fit. And unfortunately, I think what Man U are getting to the state of is it's now getting to the stage where if you get to 2 years and it's still like this, it will be, well, did Champions League and the League Cup cover over what actually wasn't very good? Or does he need more time? He's just come onto my screen right now, actually. Does he need more time?
It's press conference,
I don't know. Look, I don't know. All I know
It's
is
a
it's
massive week for him.
boring
Does he
watching Man
survive?
U play football.
Do you reckon he survives though? When you look at him now, do you reckon he survives?
Who's your games? Who you got coming up in the next 5?
Well, we got Copenhagen tomorrow. Massive
Right.
game. We lose that game, we're out basically.
Where
We've
is it?
got Man City. It's at Old Trafford.
Okay, all right.
But listen, our Old Trafford form is not the greatest. We got Man City on the Sunday, and then we've got Newcastle on the following Tuesday with the Carabao Cup, which is a must-win game as well for him as well. Like it's massive
Big
games, Like we're not
three
talking
big
about.
games because look, let's be fair. I mean, what are you behind City? Is it 6 points behind City?
Yeah, but I'm not really looking at that. I'm
No, no,
you
no,
know, what I
no,
mean,
no, I know, no. But this is my point. My point is, if you were to lose that game against City straight away, look at the gap is huge, and the whole point surely of this season was to close the gap
yeah,
on them.
to close the
If you
gap.
go
Yeah,
out
of
to
course.
Newcastle in the cup, fans don't like getting knocked out of cups. Let's face it. And if you lose to Copenhagen,
Yeah.
I think you're pretty much out of Champions League, right? Because that would have been no wins from your first 3.
Yeah.
So does he
Yep.
survive
There you
that?
go.
But Saeed, back to what I said just now. 3 games in football. Now imagine you win all 3. I'm not saying you will, but now imagine you win all 3. You've breathed life back into your Champions League campaign, right?
Yep.
And you've only lost 1 game. No, sorry. Did you draw with Bayern? No, you lost to Bayern. You've breathed life back into your Champions League campaign. You're into the quarterfinals or whatever it is of the cup, and you've beaten your biggest rivals and closed the gap on them in the league. Now that's 3 positive examples, 3 negative examples. That's football, right?
Yep.
As with anything, I think you'll probably be somewhere in the middle with all those results.
Facts. Yep. Somewhere in the middle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where we're kind of at right now. We're going to be somewhere in the middle
feast or famine,
with all
right?
of them.
It's not always feast or famine.
Oh, you know what? I just think for me, it's one of them where you know what I mean. We've got to just soak it all in, and you know what? Hope for the best, man, because that's all it is right now. Hope for the best, and maybe we might get something out of the game. There's a lot of people who have, like I said to you, have had enough. Ten Hag out, Ten Hag has not got all his players this summer. United could have attempted to sign De Jong. That would have been a statement intent, but they didn't. Yeah, listen, don't get me wrong. There's players that we could have got, should have got, but ultimately, you know what I mean. You need the results. It's not, there's so many players that managers want, but they don't get all everything. But my thing is now we're at a stage now where it's about style of play as well. Now that can't be conducive to 2-3 players. You need to build a team. So this idea that you're relying on 1 or 2 players, we can't do that. We have to be a team. So
I've always said like. Okay, if I can bring Spurs into it. So we're playing Fulham tonight, and Ibasuma, who's been excellent, right, is suspended.
Yeah.
Do I think there'll be a drop off because Basuma doesn't play? Yeah, of course there is. Right?
Yeah.
Should that be the difference between winning and losing against Fulham at home? No, not one player. No.
Yeah.
Not one player. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think that's kind of the point you were making. Yeah. All right, 1 or 2 injuries but the way you play should still be the same. The ethos should be the same. But look, at the moment, he's not dead man's walking. He's not a dead man walking. He's still in there. And you need wins. You need a couple of wins to shut some of the noise down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Man City won, not convincingly, to be fair, 2-1 against Brighton. But again, they got the win. You know what I mean? Man City, they're not the most convincing team this season, but you know what I mean, they don't really kind of get going, do they, around this time? They go into the business end of the season, they get going and they start winning games convincingly. Right now, they're almost a bit kind of cold in that regards.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the performance was excellent. I watched their game on Saturday. I thought Foden and Doku absolutely run them ragged down the wings. Doku was like excellent, and Foden was just driving it brilliant. Yeah, the scoreline wasn't a 3-4, 5-1 Man City like you normally get in the second half of the season. But do you know what? The worrying thing for everyone else in the league, Saeed, is Man City are top and they're not firing. Man City are top and haven't even begun to put on their glad rags. They're still walking around in tracksuit bottoms and trainers. They haven't put on their loafers and their shirt and their suit, and they're they're just slowly, and this is what I keep saying when I see this all the time. And if every time Man City lose a game, people talk about it as though it's some sort of new thing.
Yeah.
Everyone loses games of football, right? Every time they lose a game, oh, they don't look the same. Oh, they've lost Gundogan. Oh, they lost Mahrez. They knew they were losing Gundogan and Mahrez. This isn't new. Heard this the year before. Oh, when they lose Sterling, when they lose Jesus, Zinchenko, when they lose Aguero, Fernandinho, Yaya Toure, David Silva. Listen, these City will second half of the season. City will, I'll say it right now, clip this, someone will. City will win this league. And I think they'll win it comfortably in the end because they're a team that purr at the right time.
That's 100%, man. They're a team that, for me, when the business end of the season is coming, they'll come back, man. They'll come back, man. But like I said, you know what I mean? It's an interesting season. And you know what? It's going to be a long season as well, man. That's why, for me, I'm not really looking at the league right now and where we're at right now. I have to look at it and judge it when we get to that age, that kind of time of the season. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, go on.
So I noticed in your game at the weekend, you played Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire at centre half.
Maguire.
Obviously, I'm guessing through injuries, etc. Is that going to be your centre half pairing that plays in the Manchester derby?
I think Varane should come back in. I mean, if Varane don't come back in, and but Varane should be in there, and I reckon it'll be Maguire and Varane. That'll be the partnership for that game. Because if we play Maguire and Evans against Man City, we'll get destroyed by Haaland. So it's got to be Varane in there. So yeah, listen, that's a crazy. If we don't do that, boy, we're in trouble. We're in trouble, mate. So Varane should come in. Maguire's playing well for now. Don't get me wrong. Last couple of games been playing well, but let's steady on now. Let's steady on. So let's see. Let's see.
What I do like is when people say, like loads of people say, "Oh, City have only played one of the big six, or they haven't played anyone decent." These are the same things that happen every year. Every year I hear this about Man City, and every year Man City do what Man City do. I think some football fans need to come to reality with what Man City are under Pep Guardiola. Right? Yeah. I think they've got to get there, and it saves the hurt at the other end.
Yep, facts, absolutely. But listen, people, we're going to wrap it up here. It's been a big one. Midday Live. Like I said to you, we're not going to just stop the show. You know what I mean? Because, I feel sorry for ourselves. You know what I mean? We're going to keep it on. And Sava, it's been a pleasure, mate. We've held the fort. And hopefully everyone's back next week and we'll be back to the proper Midday Live, man. But big up to you, Sava, for coming on.
No, listen, thanks for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, obviously, I'm sorry that I wasn't all the other people, but I can only do my best. And if anyone would like to subscribe, I'm trying to hunt down 12K. So that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, Football Heritage TV. And I'll be back later on at 5 o'clock for the Straight Jacket podcast. We're going to be previewing the must-win game against Copenhagen and other United news as well. So make sure you tune in 5 p.m. And I'll see you next week for the Midday Live, people. Apologies. Take care.